Anyway, Pathman, I've been hearing what you've been saying. It's amazing. It's like a flashback of the past. And you know, I please thank you for receiving us in your home. Everybody who's watching, this would be the first time that I actually get to be in your house, and I'm sure your parents, your grandparents, and probably some children would be watching us. So this is truly an honor for me to be able to be invited in your home. So I'm a little bit nervous, and but at the same time happy. I'm actually listening to what Pathman has been saying, and what's really amazing is that we're actually in the same journey, but kind of like I just started earlier. Basically, to sort of like me and Dato started earlier just to fix things for you guys. You know, it's kind of like we pioneered a little bit. It's not that we got luck here. It's just that it's master's plan that we got to start earlier so we could lay out the tracks and road for where we are today. But one thing you have to remember, and this is in a way a sharing that I would like to make, that you need to realize that there's no vehicle or there's no company that would actually make you successful. You have to be the one. Because I remember when we started, Pathman, we didn't have QNET, we didn't have a vehicle, we didn't have a car. Literally, we didn't have a car. Literally, we didn't have the facilities that we have today. But what was very clear to me, and from the very beginning, I was very fortunate to have Dato as my upline. From the very beginning, he taught self-reliance, that we literally had to learn what network marketing is about, which is it's about entrepreneurship. So from the very beginning, we focus on really educating ourselves, you know, raising ourselves to be able to do the things right now. It's just like, oh my God, how did this happen? You know, it's just like, it didn't happen one day, but it was like one step at a time. So I just like to share with you, because sometimes I hear people, they're thinking, oh, QNET didn't do this, QNET didn't do that, or the company is failing here, the company is failing that. In fact, this is in a way a wrong attitude to be in. Because the success of any company are really the people inside. And so from the very beginning, like I said, we didn't have QNET. What we had was the V. That's why you could see these events. You don't see the QNET. I don't see the QNET in our logo here. What happened? You know, I thought I joined QNET. You know, probably some of you or your parents are saying, I thought this was QNET. How come there's no logo saying QNET here? There's nothing. You would not see QNET, because at the end of the day, why would we talk about our car? Why are we going to talk about the vehicle that we use to reach success? Whereas in fact, we talk about the passengers. We talk about the drivers. We talk about the people. What do we need to do? What do we need to learn to be able to drive this amazing car called QNET? You know, for me, it's like, it has QNET started like, you know, we call it in the Philippines, kalesa, you know, kalesa, those old chariot with, with one horse miserably hopping around. We started like that, like a bicycle. But I remember Dato always telling me, it's okay, you can walk, you can ride a bicycle, just start, just begin your journey. Don't wait, because people are waiting. Oh, I'll wait when they have this. Oh, I wait when I have that. Oh, I wait when we have this. And we had people saying that before, from the very beginning. Oh, I wait when you have your license. Oh, I wait when you have your buildings. Oh, I wait when you have more staff. And till today, they're still waiting. Why? Because there's always going to be a lot of things to wait for. But what we've learned, and what I would like to share with you, do not wait. This could be your first time attending this. Get to know, you know, who you are, what's your capability, what you're lacking. Because at the end of the day, we're giving you the key here, this next 3 days. Okay, it's a key to a very powerful vehicle. But the question is, can you actually even drive it? Do you even know how to drive QNET? You know, just like, you know, there's this teenager kid, he's so excited, I want to drive, I want to drive, I want to drive, but he never went learn, he didn't learn to drive, and you give him a key, what happens? He kills himself or he dies, I mean, in the process. And we have so many networkers who were starting from the very beginning that sort of like joined and left. So, you know, since we're day one today, I just like to remind everybody, day one, we're renewing. And what are we renewing? For those people who've been with us, we're renewing again our license to drive QNET, our commitment to again continue. Because the last 6 months, I mean, during the lockdown, it's amazing. It's just like, I thought that was the end of, you know, in my mind, I thought that was the end of QNET. I thought that was the end of the world during the pandemic. But what happened, guys? Because we are not relying on a company, everybody got to work. Corporate got to work. The V partners got to work. We rallied everyone. We got so busy sitting in our rooms, talking, communicating, and engaging. And what happened on the background as well, QNET, the corporate QNET, started making what you call our plan B. And what is plan B? It's not plan B to run away and do something else. Plan B is laying out new tracks that would assure our next 10 to 20 years. So when I saw this happening, I was like, okay, we're gonna still be around the next 20 years because of the new tracks that has been laid. And this is all being done, not just for us, but it's for everybody. So now the question now would be, guys, are you gonna renew again your commitment, your excitement? Are you gonna renew again your dream that you probably lost? You got beaten up by this pandemic that you lost hope. You gotta, you know, you gotta renew that today. You gotta revive that today. And for the people who's just joining us today, okay, learn. You have to learn how to drive this amazing vehicle. It's been, I mean, 20, like Pathman was saying, where we're going 22 years, right? This September, we'll be 22 years old, 22. And I could still remember in 1998, we did not have anything at all. It's like today, every day, I still wake up and think about, God, how did we pull this through? How did we pull this through, Vijay? It's always been a question to me. But again, it was like, really, it did not happen in one day. It happened in 20 years. But every day there was a step, and the improvements that we were making every day was really little, very little. And that improvement is improving ourselves, improving my commitment, improving my relationship. And at the end of the day, I realized it was really all about the reason I'm still here today, because I try to continue my commitment. I had to go through what you call transformation of myself, or else I'll be left behind. You know, we all have to go through. And I've seen some people who was not able to keep up with us is because they don't want to grow. They just stopped. They just said, okay, that's it. I don't want to do this anymore. It's too tough for me. And they started having excuses, of course. And the world, guys, would always give us excuses. Like this pandemic is the biggest scam of excuses in the century. In fact, every time you talk to somebody, what do they say? Oh, it's lockdown. That is totally, I mean, you'd be amazed. You don't realize what you could actually do. Even during these times, we could do so much. And again, you know, I remember what Dato has been telling me from the very beginning. Japa, the biggest disability is not having a leg. You know, sometimes you see people, they're disabled. You know, they have difficulty in walking or something. But he was saying, you know, the biggest disability is mental disability. And that's what we would have. And but see, this could be cured tonight. This could be cured in this during this 3-day Vcon. And that's what we want to focus on. That's what we'd like to show you, that if you're still not successful today, it's not because of the vehicle. Because this vehicle, QNET vehicle, has been proven, has been tested. It worked for a lot of us, okay? For some people that somehow did not work, did not reach their successes, it's not because of QNET. It's not because of the vehicle, but it's their failure to improve themselves. So this 3 days is all about, of course, getting excited, hearing a lot of stories. Even for me, every time I come to VCon, I get so inspired, I get so excited, listening to Pathman, listening to the V, giving their perspective that I never seen, because although, you know, I've been in this company for 22 years, I don't know what's going on in every part of the world. And it is so exciting that you get to hear someone from, you know, Kenya, someone from, you know, this part of the world telling you their struggles and their, you know, their successes at the same time. I mean, I remember, Pathman, the first time I went to Bali, I was picked up by one of our leaders on his 600 Mercedes-Benz.
Yes.
And with a you know, with a QNET with a QNET plate number. And he was telling me, Mr. Bismark, this car is, this is your car. You gave me this car. I said, I didn't remember giving you a car. But he was referring to that. He said, I got this car before because of QNET. So he picked me up in the airport in his beautiful car, and he showed me his mansion that he built. And I was like, this is the first time, Pathman, that I felt so fulfilled in my life, because I realized that, okay, wow, okay, I achieved my success. Me and Dato has achieved my success. But when we see others also becoming successful, that is a whole different fulfillment. That is, and this is what we have. We are not just people that would become successful ourselves, but we do have the tools to make others successful. And there's nothing like it. There's no fulfillment in the world like helping others learn how to fish and be successful themselves, wherein you get to actually see them from where they were before. And this guy was telling me his story. It's just like amazing story. Where they were 6 months ago, you could not even imagine. And so you may be in a very difficult situation, you know, but that's okay. In fact, I was just reading something from today. I was just reading something from what's his name? The head, Sheikh Mohammed. He was interviewed in BBC, and he was saying, wow, his dream, you know, he was successful, this and that. He said, yeah, my father rode a camel, he said. My father rode a camel. And I'm riding a Mercedes-Benz, he said. And my kids are riding a Range Rover. And their children would be probably riding a, you know, Bentley or a Range Rover. But I'm worried my grandchildren will ride a camel again. So the interviewer said, "Oh, Sheikh, why would your great-grandchildren ride a camel again?" Because he said, "My father raised warriors, but today my children are raising parasites." So he was saying strong men survive in crisis. Yeah. So even if we're in a crisis right now, don't think this is the end of the world. In fact, it would just make you strong. And he was saying, leaders come out in crisis. Strong leaders come out in crisis. But weak men come from successes. So this is like the balance now we would have to. And you would be, you know, wondering, Pathman, oh, why and me and Dato Vijay still come to VCon?
Yeah.
Because we don't wanna we don't want to forget. We don't want to forget where we came from. We go to Vcon. In fact, it's just the first day my staff, the V organizers told me to wear this, a suit. But guys, I'm just one of you again. And I have to, or else I'll be forgetting, you know, where I came from. And if we forget that, then we lose the journey. We would not get to the destination. Even if we get there, what are we going to be passing on to our children? What are we going to be passing on to our downlines? So this Vcon is very important for us too. That's why we say, come home. So we invite everybody again to come back home. Come back home, meaning this is where we would refuel. Yeah, for everyone, even for Dato, refuels on Vcon. Every time when I see Vijay, I never see him so happy during Vcon. He's like a kid. He gets so excited with Vcon. Why? Because this is our life. Our life is raising people, sharing our experiences, sharing our failures, and all of this. And so I hope you could feel where our heart is coming from. We're genuine people. Okay, we're not, I mean, they gave us the title founder, but really everyone is the founder of this company. You're coming in today, you are a founder of this company. Take ownership. Vijay would always say, I would say this, take ownership from day one. From day one, take ownership. This is your company. Make QNET your vehicle. Okay, learn how to drive it. We're here to teach you how to drive it. This Vcon would be, we cannot do the detail of training, but this Vcon, the purpose of this Vcon is to actually bring belief in you, right? To leave some, you know, that belief system, having that faith is very strong. It's very important in the very beginning to have faith that yes, this vehicle could actually take me to where I want to be. This vehicle I can use for my kids' education, for my family, to buy my house, to use materially, to give donation, to build your church, to build your temple, and whatever you're into that you'd like to be helping humanity with, you could use this as a vehicle. And that's really the purpose why we're here. This is not a marketing event. I don't see this as a marketing event. We don't actually focus so on, okay, we're selling this product. The products and all of those, of course, businesses that comes in with what we're doing is part of it. It's very important. Products are very important. But yet, for that to work, for all of this to work, we must be very solid inside. I need you to be in the zone where we are, you know, that zone of raising yourself and focusing on yourself, training yourself from every step so that you could, you know, reach this success. So, you know, you're going to be, I mean, this whole 3 days would be, you'll be hearing so many leaders, the V partners, they'll be coming, sharing some of the VCs, they'll be sharing some of their stories, and we're all going to be here listening to their stories, because this story solidifies, you know, this understanding and this feeling that, yes, we're not alone. And in fact, you're not alone in this business. I could not have made this by myself. Dato would not have been able to be successful in this business by himself. He always talked about building a team, and this is what we do. But for us to build a team, we must build ourselves, and this is what we're going to be doing, you know, in the next 3 days, you know, having that, reviving that spirit. So so this is pretty much, this is it, and we're gonna be, you know, I'll be talking to you in the next couple of days. So, Pathman, is there anything that?
No, Japa, I have a question for you. As usual, you and I have the same karma, Japa. Dato Sri Vijay is already supposed to be here, but as usual, I'm on the way, you and Japa talk. Don't worry, I'm on the way, you and Japa talk.
No worries, no worries. I just don't know the program.
No, Japa, this is free
We will
flowing.
never run out of things to say.
Exactly.
So.
But I got a question, Japa. I mean, you know how much I respect you and Dato Sri, but more importantly, what I've always respected is how you guys sustain your relationship for 22 years. I mean, marriages don't last 22 years, Japa. Forget business partnerships. So what made it possible, Japa? What made this relationship last for 22 years? And you know, yeah.
Yeah. I've been thinking about it. Then I've actually looked at Dato's, I'm into sort of like astrology, you know what I mean? So I looked at Dato's sign. He's a rat. He was born year of the rat.
Yeah.
And I was born year of the tiger. And guess what? In the astrology book, the best partner, okay, in business, marriages, is the tiger and the rat.
Are you serious, Are you going to say it's astrology, Japa? It's not only astrology, okay?
Seriously. It says there that the very, like, if you're a tiger, you want to do business with someone, find a rat. If you're a rat, find a tiger. But of course, we didn't check our before we got into partnership, we didn't check our, charts. It's just like, hey, okay, so that kind of and sort of like I get to understand how he thinks and he understands how I think. So definitely, of course, there's a lot of communication and talking constantly. Were we arguing? Yes, we did argue, but we would not sleep. Of course, we don't sleep together, but what I'm saying, we would not, you know what I mean, sleep that night without resolving issues or arguments through, like when, sometimes there would be hot exchanges on the WhatsApp, or at that time, SMS. Later on, pick up the phone, we'll resolve it on the phone. And because there's always respect, and I never lost respect, I always see him as my upline. And because of that, no matter, and this is the beauty of it, so no matter how successful I become, even equally, you may say we're successful equally in terms of finances and stuff like that, but my respect for him as an upline would always remain. You know what upline says? Okay, this is it. This is my decision. I explained to you everything. You still don't want to do it? No, follow, because, upline. Okay, sir, follow. But I don't agree with you, okay? You just put this on record. But I'll follow you because of the 80-20 rule, Pathman.
Yes, agreed.
And I know 20% of the time he could be wrong, but I don't know when that 20% is. So I might as well just follow him. Even if it's wrong, we correct it anyway. We both correct it. But we don't go, oh, see, Vijay, I told you this was wrong. And we made a lot of wrong stuff. He made a lot of mistakes, and I made a lot of mistakes and stuff. But this is what partnership is all about.
And Japa, right now, Japa, we are doing VCC. There's over 300,000 people viewing us from all over the world, Japa. All right? Do you ever think that in 1998, when you started, did you ever imagine we would be this, Japa, today?
Totally. Like, the Zoom, we were at that point, having the beeper was the highest tech ever.
The pager, yeah.
The pager, we call it the beeper and the pager, and that was it. And like, I have no idea that we would even be going out of border. But Vijay, he was telling me we're gonna go global. But I've never been out of my country at that time. So global to me was like, what global, that I only see on CNN. But when it started happening, it started moving around. It's just amazing. I don't know, definitely I have no idea. But looking at where we are today, Pathman, this was my dream company 20 years ago. if I was dreaming of a company to have, this would be it. But the problem is my mind could not even comprehend this dream company called QNET right now. Why? I would not have an idea what the Zoom would be like, what the people that have come and joined us, that we would have towers in Malaysia and offices around the world. That is far-fetched. So right now, based on what we have today, I could only imagine the next 20 years, Pathman, with all of you being on our side, all the people today seeing what we've done in 20 years. I believe the next 20 years would be totally like the impossible for me. Like, you know, we're making a name global. We're making a wave in a way. So, and I don't just attribute this to me. It's all of us. We're making this noise together. So I'm very grateful. Thank you. I mean, it's awesome. In fact, I just thinking now, you're telling me, oh, like 300,000 people watching me today. I'm just like, oh my God, you know, should I fix my hair or should I?
No, Japa, I'm surprised you are dressed up formal. I'm totally surprised, okay? This is the most formal I've seen you on a Vcon.
Exactly. Because, you know, your people told me, oh, Mr. Bismark, you have to dress up. You wear something clean, you know what I mean? So people would believe that you're a founder. So, because people might not believe, because imagine if the grandma said, is that your founder? Why is he on his jeans? Why is he on a t-shirt? Founder must be in a suit. So sometimes we have to conform. And also I need to, you know, teach our downlines, Pathman, that the reason we dress is not for us. We dress for our downlines. Imagine if you're walking down the street and you see your downline gets so excited. Sir, he's with his friends and he goes, oh, that's our founder. And I'm in my shorts. And I mean, it's like, is that a founder? You know what I mean? So it doesn't give a good impression on people. You know, we still live in the world wherein in corporate world you have to somehow. But I took off the necktie. So that's
thank God, Japa. If you had a tie, I'll freak out.
But tomorrow, guys, okay, I'm gonna wear the V partner shirt. Yeah. So I hope you don't mind. You've seen me, mother, grandfather, grandmother. You've seen me on my suit. Okay, they named me the founder of this company because I was fortunate to be there from the beginning. But in fact, all of your children today could be founders of this company if they just take ownership.
Yep.
And pretty much that's my message today.
And
I mean,
and one more question, Japa. I mean, you are now in Dubai, and you were there from the time the pandemic started until now.
Yes,
all right.
yes.
What would be your biggest take back from this new normal, Japa? I mean, the world has changed drastically for you and me and for all of us. What's your biggest take back? Would you think?
Well, my biggest take back, of course, the first week was going like you go, shh, you know what I mean? I won't say the word like, shh, you know what I mean? Because I've been traveling the last 20 years and boom, stop. And you're locked in the house. You're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And you realize you have so much time in your hand, right? And you also realize that we waste a lot of this time. I realize, Pathman, time is more than millions of dollars.
Yeah.
In fact, everybody is rich if you look at it. You cannot buy time. And we all equally have 24 hours in a day. Yes?
Yes.
So let's just put a number on this 24 hours, okay? Let's just say it's $1 million. So every day we all get $1 million. Now the question is, how are you spending your $1 million? Are you throwing it away? Or are you using it to actually improve yourself, improve your relationship, improve your, there's just so many things. You realize it's, oh my God, I could do so many things, you know. I could read a lot of these books, I could learn a language, I could play the guitar, I could do this, I could do that, you know, like you start adding on skills that you thought you never had, or you never had the time for. And now you're given that time, and people freak out. They don't know what to do with that time. So people who are like, who gets mentally crazy that they need to go out, is only because they don't know how to use this valuable time that they were given. So it's very important that during this time, in fact, it's a reset, you know, it's a reset for the world. It's like the world, you know, God is telling us, hey guys, you know what I mean? Stay put. Learn, you know, like the old ways before, when we just stay in one place, no one travels, stay home. And we're able to, you know, I realize you're able to spend quality time with your kids, with your wife, with your family, and you could connect with, you know, everyone in the, and this connection is so important, which in a way we've lost it because of the traveling, the business, and the biggest excuse that we have is that, hey, I'm so busy, I'm so busy. Whereas in fact, this busyness in a way is also a disease, you know, a disease in a way, because we forget to do, we forget to prioritize the important things. For example, like health. So during this time, I was able to go back and analyze, hey, I should increase activities, put some importance on my health, because guys, I'm I'm turning 60 soon.
Don't reveal your age, Japa. Come on.
No, it's easy. I'm wearing it now. I'm wearing it with the beard.
I love the beard, by the way. I love it.
So I was like, hey, go on. I gotta do something, you know, improve your health, do some yoga, do some breathing, do some walking. So there's a lot of these things that, you know, could be done during our, is Dato here now? You're looking at something.
Yeah. Well, Japa, thank you for saving my, saving me. And guys all around the world, earlier I spoke about the founders, and they sort of complete each other. You saw Japa, and I know your mom, your dad, your wife, your mother-in-law is thinking, this is the Japa Das you guys are talking about? All right, but I love Japa's humility, and his style of communication simply makes you comfortable. And I love that about Japa. And he's truly the master 101, even though he doesn't know where the title came from. But I always believe Japa is. And the way Japa described Dato Sri, his relationship, guys, this VCC, 300 over 1,000 people around the world watching our survival and success, the past 22 years, which I've had the privilege to be witness to and to stand by these two great men as their downline and student, I attribute it to the vision. The vision and the man who kept us believing in the vision even when we lost faith. Now, every once in a while, somebody comes into our world, our lives, who shows you your true potential when you could not see it. And Dato Sri Vijay, from day one, and anyone who has been in communication with him, who met him, who heard him speak, you cannot walk away listening to this man without having an improvement in you. You understand? You can talk to him in a coffee shop for 10 minutes, and I guarantee you, you walk away a better man, a better woman. Your belief in yourself will exponentially grow. And I'm standing here because of him. And I never gave up in 22 years because he never allowed me to give up on myself. And it's very rare in our journey of life that you get the privilege and honor to learn from somebody great. Now, he will never talk about his greatness. You guys know this. But let me speak today of our founder, our visionary, but most importantly, our mentor, Dato Sri Vijay. He believed when nobody else believed. And when somebody tells him something cannot be done, he will do whatever it takes to make sure it can, simply so that we believe. And today, QNET, QI, the V, and the QI group of companies, which is huge today, we exist because he's the kind of man who believes in the truth, will never back down from any battle as long as he's fighting for the truth. Like I told you, he told me 22 years ago, Pathman, as long as there's one IR in the country, we never back out of the country. And he has walked that talk. And today on VCC day 1, on the first night, it gives me great honor to introduce to many of you who are going to hear him live for the first time. And I know how you feel, guys. All right? Please help me welcome our upline, our founder, the visionary of this family, the parent of this family, the one and only Dato Sri Vijay Eswaran. Dato Sri Anne, we are reaching out to 300,000 over people around the world. Your kids, your downlines, your family. And Japa is all dressed up in Dubai, I don't know why. But the most formal, I've seen him in Vcon.
Vijay, how come you're not hugging me anymore?
You have a virtual hug.
Virtual hug.
Welcome home to Vcon once again. And this time, we come to your homes. So it's an amazing experience, this entire Vcon Connect. And we are just going to get better at doing this. But anyway, in the meantime, it's very nice to see Japa. It's been a journey that we have taken for the last 23 years. In fact, a little longer, I think. 25, Japa?
25 now, 25.
25. So that's quarter of a century, you know. And it's been a great, great journey together. And perhaps we should...
No, Dato Sri, Japa, as our tradition, Anne, we want to know how this journey started. I asked Japa earlier, how did you all stay together for 25 years when marriages don't last more than 2 years, Anne? So to all the VCC participants, when I call Dato Sri Anne, it's our culture of calling him Big Brother. All right, I'm not used to calling him Dato Sri, so I always refer to him lovingly as Anne, which means big brother or older brother, so you don't get confused. So Anne, I leave you and Japa to share your secrets with us on this 25-year journey together.
Well, Jobs, we need to talk a little bit. What do you...
I was just telling Pathman what's the first thing. I said, oh, you know, after a while, I was wondering why my relationship with you was working out. So I checked the astrology, you know.
Ah, you did?
You were born year of the rat.
Yes.
And I was born year of the tiger. And I was reading that was the best partnership of a sign in business and in marriage. Fortunately, it was in business, not in marriage. But at the end of the day, I was telling him that, you know, my respect for you has always been there, despite I have become successful. I never lost my respect with you. And at the end of the day, even if whatever arguments we get into, and when you say, Japa, we're going to go right, I say, okay, sir, we go right then. Because you're my upline always. So that became my guide in terms of, so I don't lose my, my headspace in terms of this partnership.
I've always believed that, arguments help strengthen our relationship. Disagreeing with each other is not an issue. I have never found that to be a challenge. If I found disagreements to be a challenge, then staying married would have been a lot more difficult. So, but then, ours is a marriage of sorts, in terms of business, but I have never minded the disagreements. Agreeing to disagree is part of the journey, and in fact, it helps me make my mind up. As always, something that you say, Japa, that adds to what I already know. And so it's never inconsequential. It's always something that carries weight. And it is perspective. That is the single most important thing in business, because we are blind leading the blind. Business is very much an issue of us trying to work our way through the forest. And nobody knows the absolutely right path. And there's no such thing. Every one of us creates our own path, Japa does. And you know this, and I know this. And I'm just...
Remember our famous picture, Vijay. Starks again, Hutch.
Yes.
I don't see my back, but you see it for me, and you don't see your back, and I see it for you. So that is perfectly, I would describe it that way. Just that picture, says it all.
We've always been able to travel this entire path together simply because the one thing is that we've essentially wanted, the same things out of life, which makes a very big difference. I mean, if you remember, Jabba, there were 4 of us when we began. And this may not be something everyone knows, but it's history. So we are not going to, be concerned about covering it up or whatsoever. But the reason why we are still here today is simply because our understanding of life was very much more meshed in together. Our understanding of life was very much more in sync with each other. Success, of course, means being financially free at some point. And that was what brought the 2 of us together. And I don't think we should ever discount that. That has been, and always will be, a goal. Because if we are not financially, capable or feasible, we would sink. So that has always been the underlying factor. But having said that, to us, that was not the be-all and end-all. To me, Japa, and you know this, Japa, for all the Vcons we have been, the be-all and end-all is right out there. It's them.
Yeah, true.
Are you guys with me? Are you guys with me? See, it's important that, when I and Japa are talking, because we are in this virtual space right now. And I need you to react from time to time. Imagine that you are actually in Vcon. There you go. There you go. This is what we live for. You are what we live for. To make you successful has been our journey. And that has been always a primary purpose that has driven me and driven Japa. Because it's not about, bringing you into this business. It's about taking you to a different place in your life. Are you with me? I realize sometimes the translations may take a minute or 2 to hit you, but if you can see me, and I'm raising my hand up like this, then you automatically do the same thing. Are you with me? It's very simple. You guys charge us up. You guys make Vcon possible. Vcon is not about just Japa and me or the V partners or QNET. The Vcon is about you. So let's be clear about that. So I need you guys to be switched on and react accordingly. Are you with me? There we go. Can you see some of their jobs?
No, actually, I've been talking here to myself. I don't see anything from where I am.
Ah, right.
Except the, what do you call this, the poster that we have. So it's a it's quite difficult.
I know. We got to give him a feedback.
I'm learning it. I'm learning it.
No, we'll set up a second computer for you, Japada, so you can see the crowd. That's important.
No problem. I'm no problem. But it's quite challenging. But it's
So
you're
the
the space, like the dark space. But I know they're there. I have faith that they're
no,
there.
I'm looking at them right now. Let me tell you, it's real. I can see.
Oh my God! I don't see what you see.
Yeah. So on one hand over there.
Because today, not like last time, we were able to have a stage. But they've been very strict right now in Dubai. They don't allow more than 10 people in a room because of the new infection that we're having. So,
Well, I can tell you what I see, so you can feel some of this, through the energy. I see Indonesia on one side. Luar biasa ya, Indonesia. Papanya gini. Papanya gini. Sri Lanka. Ayubawan, Sri Lanka. Yeah, I can see. It's like so. Casablanca, Morocco. Saudi Arabia. Yeah, 30 seconds behind. Italy. Buongiorno. Hello, Russia. Yeah, Saudi I can see now. New Delhi, India. Namaste. Tanzania. Hakuna Matata. India, Bangalore. Namaste. Morocco. Assalamualaikum. Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. Burkina Faso. Yeah, okay. Tanzania was very fast. Okay, Abidjan has got it now. Burkina waiting. Oh, Japa, you got to see this. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, but you have seen it in the Vcon before, so it's pretty much.
Yeah, I saw the videos yesterday. The camera.
Yeah, so it's awesome to see them. And they're in the festival mood right now. So Abidjan is still celebrating after that.
Yeah, actually, I've been seeing a lot of from the messages from the different countries, the videos they sent in their homes. I mean, it's just amazing. They're having parties in their homes, and we're there actually in their homes. And that's what I've been watching this whole afternoon. It's amazing.
So we may have started before founders, as I said earlier, but they left for their own reasons, and basically we let them continue on their destiny, as it were. But the primary difference between us was about how this company should be. And our purpose, Japadas, has always been the same. We wanted this to be the best vehicle that we could make to serve. And in that way, I think we have always tried our best. And I think that's really what is important, that we always keep on trying our best from our hearts. And that's what makes Vcon so special and so powerful. So, but Jabba, you know, ultimately we always speak to one person at a time anyway. Yes. So even as you sit there speaking to them, as you will again later, you will be speaking to that one person, and to that one person who's repeated 300,000 times, you know. And to remember that if we were to actually make a difference to a tiny fraction of those lives, then we have succeeded.
Yeah, one person at a time.
Yes, because Japa, ours was a one-on-one relationship.
Right.
You know, the reason, you know, you and I are here today is because we were alone together sometime, and we sat and we spoke our hearts out, and that's what worked.
Yeah,
that was the magic that worked.
I won't forget the fireplace. Yeah.
So, you know, I think that's a very powerful message for each of them to receive and to remember, that ultimately it is about that one person at a time.
True. Yeah.
You know, and it has proved it in the last 22 years.
Because what was really powerful at that time, remember, DJs, and I just like to share it. You know, at that time I guess just like everybody, I was struggling financially. I had debts. I had, of course, a lot of issues that I was having. And it was the first time that I met a person like you who actually spoke to me and tried to find out what I was going through. People, normally people want to get involved with your problems because they all have their problems themselves. So I was very surprised why you wanted to know my problem at that time. And you did, and I felt the sincerity. You wanted to know my problem to help me out. But of course, helping me out was not was not something that you're gonna give me money or cash. That was the easy part you were telling me before. But helping me was actually helping me by teaching me how I could help myself. How could I strategize better in life? How I could plan better in life? So you started planting a lot of questions in me that I never ever thought of thinking or planning. I didn't have a life plan at that time. And what made us bond, Vijay, was that you hugged me and you told me that you would be there for me to help me solve, or solve my problems, issues at that time. And I remember it just took a year and I was able to pay all my debts. I remember you were talking about the debt reconciliation at that time, how to save, how to, because I was so bad with financial management, just like anybody, I guess. And I was able to solve that. So from there, I said, hey, this is a friend that definitely I would have to keep for life because, you really helped me. Grow as a person. You help me, in fact, be somebody in terms of be of help to my community, to so many people. And so that's really what made a difference. You were not just one of those casual friends that would just be passing hi, but really not get involved in terms. And you had to, yeah, like you get to know my kids, their birthdays, my anniversary, and nobody just do that, you know. People just don't do that because we all have our issues. So I also learned from you that that's how you build friendship with somebody.
Well, ultimately, we know the bonding was because we became family. And I think that is the single most powerful thing, because ultimately we are all in the family of man, you know. And the problems that you had at the time was problems that I faced before, problems that I understood very well and that I could empathize with, that I could relate to. So, you know, seeing you come out of that was for me a great relief. You see, it is in a way proving the point that this is a concept that we can go out there and practice together.
And that's what I was just sharing earlier, Vijay. When I started, the first time I started flying out to train, my first time in Bali, where I was met by one of the leaders there that was just 6 months ago, was in the street with his family. Now he's picking me up with his Mercedes-Benz, bringing me to his home that he built. I just could not describe, I was just speaking about it earlier, I could not describe the feeling I had because I knew I was part of helping this family. And that was just one of them, one of the many. And I think sort of like, I guess that's what you also felt when you were able to help me, you know, raise myself. And it's an amazing feeling because it's not just, we're here and it's not just, you're not just selfishly trying to make money for yourself. Whereas in fact, while you're doing that, you're also helping others to be successful themselves. In fact, that's the very basis of your success, is to make me successful as well. And so, you know, this is the experience that keeps us together, that keeps us, why, like I was just explaining, why I still come to Vcon on a regular basis. Because Vijay, we're one of them. We're one of these 350,000 people that are just watching us. It's just that we just embarked, we just started earlier, but still we go through that same.
Exactly.
And we don't want to ever forget, Vijay, where we came from.
No. In fact, the reason that we get up every morning and is, in essence, keep on feeling the way that we do is because of that gratitude. You see, if we lose that gratitude, then we start taking things for granted, and that would be a major mistake. The other thing that I want to share with everyone out there is, this is not easy even for you, Japa. Even if I wanted to do my very best to, you know, take you out of wherever you were, it could not work. It cannot work until and unless you yourself decided to put 110%. When you threw yourself behind it, you worked, you know, around the clock. There were times, Japatas, that you have never worked like that before. And there were times when we were talking to each other in the first year or two that we were literally, you know, walking past each other, you know, in a hurry to get to something else or somewhere else, because that's how incredibly busy we were. We were so damn busy, Japatas, that I didn't realize we were successful until we had already gone down that road for a while.
Yeah.
You see, because we started off, and the most important thing was, okay, we are covering expenses right now. That I remember.
Surprisingly, Vijay, we got surprised when we were called founders. Like, oh, I have this title. I have this title because we never thought of we never did what we did because of titles or because of the salary. In fact, we were not getting salary at all, and we were just, yeah, it's.
For the longest time, we just were, you know, focused on breaking even in terms of just covering our expenses. And once that was done, we had peace of mind and we could put our hearts and souls into it. And that is what is critical for all of these people to understand.
Right.
You see, beyond a certain point, it's got to be something that you love doing.
Yeah.
And is it possible for you to love doing this? It's possible for you to love doing anything, Japadas, if you set your heart on it. Because this is the thing that's freeing you. This is the thing that's giving your family a peace of mind. It's giving you a roof on your head. And in this particular time, Japadas is giving us, a sense of security. We should be blessed. How can we not love what we are doing?
But Vijay, this is the thing, and in my experience, while this was happening, and this is why it's important to constantly engage and connect with someone, because you lose it, Vijay. You just forget why you're doing it, because there's just so many problems out there that it becomes your reason. You try to make it your reason why you cannot be successful. It stops you. Like, I remember when we started and people are saying, okay, we're going to join when we have this, when we have that, when we have your license. And they just keep on waiting and waiting and waiting. And I remember that's why you came up with this tagline, do it now. I remember, because people are just watching, waiting. Oh, I'm not going to join. Where's your license? Oh, where's your office? Where's your product? Where's your this? Where's your that? And it's such a pity, because those people today, Vijay, are still waiting.
Exactly. But Japadas, let's not forget, one of the things that we did very differently, and I want to remind you about this, is that from the very beginning, Japadas, we started with V Grupo. Okay, I mean, V Grupo was in existence, then you came aboard. You were, I think, arguably the oldest member after I kick-started, that. Then from there, V Grupo grew. But what was the purpose of it? The purpose of V Grupo, which means V Team, was to create a team, because it is damn lonely at the top. The thing that you said right now is so important, Japadas. Yes, you can forget. It's so easy to forget. In fact, success makes you forget, and that is the fastest way to self-destruct. There are people who become successful like a flash in the pan. They just make it for a while and then they're gone.
Yeah.
Why? Because they think they did it. The one thing that I remind myself all the time, is that if I'm here, I am blessed. And why am I blessed? Because of every member of the many teams that we have, Japadas. The very first being the V partnership, in essence, is our first blessing. We brought them together a long time ago, and they worked alongside with us. Do you remember?
That's what I was sharing this earlier, Vijay, that there's no QNET. We didn't have a vehicle at that time, but we had each other, we had the team, we had the people, and we pretty much killed whatever reasons that would stop us from getting successful. So that in fact, we created a vehicle, Vijay. What we have today, it's something that we created and people with us created, and that's why there's no QNET at this event, Vijay. I don't see any sign of QNET. Why? It's only a vehicle that we're actually using. But people think, Vijay, that it's QNET that's going to make them successful. If QNET doesn't have this, doesn't have that, they're not going to be successful. And that's something, Vijay, I don't want to undervalue the importance of the organization. I don't want to undervalue the importance of a product or a good system, Vijay. But at the same time, I also don't want people, I don't also want it to stop anyone's chasing their dream because they think we don't have a better system or a better product. Because Vijay, what we have today in QNET, for me, that was like the dream company 20 years ago, because we didn't have anything near what we have today, Vijay.
Yeah, but I think it's always remember that to these people out there right now, you're right, it's not the product, it's not the plan, it's not the company, it's always the people. The most valuable thing that you have is your greatest assets are your people.
True.
So, protecting your people, preserving your people, everything that you do for your people. And ultimately, you know, as they succeed, so did we. And that was the secret. So ultimately, we are here because of not just me or you, but so many minds, so many ideas, and everyone putting their shoulders together to make this possible. That is what the secret is. The true secret is to success. You know? So our people, and the fact that we are today talking to this many people is incredible. But this is something that we have always known from day one. That it's the people that are the secret, and it's the people that we need to protect, to preserve, and the people who need to basically, you know, be carried forward and have belief in themselves. And that's the secret. The V is basically, if the QNET is a Ferrari, which it is, it's a magnificent Ferrari, but to someone who does not know how to drive one, a Ferrari is an incredibly wasted piece of metal. You know, you might as well just hook up a few cows and drag it because it is of no use. But, you know, one of the things I learned was when I had to get a Ferrari one time, Japata, as you remember, I had to go all the way to Italy to learn how to drive the damn thing. Because that's how complicated it is. Hence, if QNET is the Ferrari, then the V is the driver. And they call the drivers in the Ferrari system Pilota Ferrari. In Italian, it says Pilota Ferrari. And the program is known as Pilota Ferrari. So the V, that's it. Pilota Ferrari for the QNET machine, the Ferrari. And that's the secret that has brought us this far.